So I'm Russ Jarmesty. Give you a little bit of background on this DVD that you've got. Now, it's called Brutal Bouncer. The reason for that, I spent many years, 15 of them, working in Manchester's nightclubs. Now, my background's quite simple. I had karate, first martial art that I tried, then jiu-jitsu. So what I did is I took this martial art and I took it into the environment where violence was every day. If I weren't involved with it, I was seeing it, preventing it. So what I found is all the little bits I'm going to give you in this DVD. The techniques I had originally, they technically would work, however, I had to change them slightly. In this box set, we'll show you what we're changing and why we changed it, and then you need to try them for yourself. So simply, my background is this. It says Brutal Bouncer, however, I'm not. If you meet me when I'm with my little girl, I'm dad, like everybody else. But in the environment I was in little moments of times, it was brutal. So I had to be brutal also. So that's exactly what it says on the tin. But guys, don't take it, I walk around nailing everything that walks in front of me. However, the occasion came where we had to do it. So that's what this is going to be covering, okay? Nice and simple, uncomplicated. Put the theory behind it, put the reasons why, and a little bit of the psychology. Now, the psychology is everything when you attach it to your techniques. So I hope you enjoy it, have some fun with it, play with it, and you do need to test it. We've got the first DVD. I had the techniques already. With the jiu-jitsu and the karate that I was doing, I technically had everything I needed. The awareness just wasn't there, the way we trained it. So I found the way my partners approached me, the environment I was in, changed everything. A face bar is a face bar, but not if the guy stood in front of you, monstrous size, monstrous strength. The kind of guy that can take your head off. Well, there's a certain mentality that needs to be attached to this face bar now. So this is what this next little bit's going to be about, the awareness I discovered, and then I turned it into a little bit of an art of baiting. I needed to know certain things. The things I wanted to know was, what can't you do? If I can limit your options, I can up my odds on knowing what's coming. So this next little bit will be simple for you. How do you stand? What is it he's doing and what does it tell you? So I became, over these years I did it, I'd say professional at body language. I can 99% guess what you're going to do, if you're going to do anything, or if you're walking away. So enjoy this next section. We'll start at the beginning like everything should, walk through it, and we'll finish running. So, is he going to go, or isn't he going to go? Now, little things I discovered were, if somebody's shouting and they're raging, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to smash your face, and he's not going to hit me. He's not hitting me at that moment in time, he's too busy with the words coming out of the mouth. He's what I used to call all fat and no shit. Just talkers, you know, they want to give you the words. Now, while he's talking in this, I'll do this, I'll do that, he's not going. He may go when he finishes. So during that conversation, if I believe he's going to go when he finishes, he's getting it in between what he's saying. However, this guy's a bit different. The ones who break it down to very short single syllables, and you can virtually see the shoulders if the little bit of rocking that's coming. Now that's enough of a sign. I put it down to single syllabus words. You know, you what? Let's have it. Come on then. Well, that guy's a little bit different to I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So he gets a bit more priority. I need a little bit more awareness. So guys, take my word for it. Screaming in your face, the words are coming out. He's not punching while he's screaming. He's going down to single words. The motions, the rocking, tells me everything I need to know. Tells me I need to get myself ready to do what I can do. So let's have a look at a scenario from a guy who's giving me the words, and I go, to the guy who gives me the rocking. All the signs that says, do it, get something working. So let's have a look at these little scenarios. So here's your first scenario. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to smash your face in. One more time and I'm going to... Now listen, which way am I going? I'm going backwards. He's not coming for you, is he? So I've had plenty of them occasions where if I weren't clued up enough to know that's not a fight scenario, I'd be gearing up already, waiting for it. Which would probably draw the guy back to me. So he's walking away from me going, listen, I'll smash your face and I'll do that. And I go, well, come on then, let's have it. Well, it might be enough that to change his mind and think, shh, I need to do something. Maybe his friends are around and I've just insulted him. But listen, he was going backwards. Let him keep going backwards. Let him go as far back as he wants till he goes home. So that's the first scenario. And it's not rocket science. Every man and his dog will see it. Now this is where awareness comes. Let's say there's a third party watching. So I'm talking about the witness who's going to be the one that talks to the policeman, that tells him everything they believed happened. Now they won't remember the words coming out of this guy's head, who's coming back going, I'll do this. They'll remember what happened. Someone stood there, things happening, and then a fight. However, if they see you being the aggressive one, especially in the role I was in, this guy's allowed to call me names, shout, say what he wants. But me, my role, for me to walk towards him, I was the one forcing the fight. So guys, let him go. You need to let the guy go. If in your head you're thinking, I can't cope with the words he's saying, that's just an ego. Get rid of it. Egos will get you hurt outside. Take it for what it is. It's a little amount of words put together by some old fat and no shit guy to get a reaction out of you. Don't react. He's going backwards, let him go. I'm different. It took me a long time to learn not to react. So I probably had more fights from that scenario than I ever should have. Let the guy go. Forget the words. Think about where he's going, that way. There's your first scenario. So this bit's simple for you. Forget the words that are coming out of his mouth. The words that come out of his mouth, if I tell you now he's going to shout certain specific things at you, well, you need to hear them things outside. Words change. The actions is what I'm looking for. So it's a simple scenario, this. I could have him screaming and shouting, telling me certain things, but I'm not interested. Like I said, all fat and no shit. Paddington Bears, my friend used to call it. Hard words and hard stares. They're not affecting me today because he's going that way. So let's have a look on this one. He's got the pointing and he's got the words. And he's backing up. Why would I follow him? What's the point in following him? That's you fighting. That's you causing the fight. And the way my head works, listen, I've always won every fight I've ever had for this strong belief. I've been in the right. When you're in the right, it makes for a stronger fight. You want to follow him and you want to have it. Listen, you want to fight that much, get in a ring. Go do your boxing, go do your other stuff, okay? We're talking outside. There's no medals to earn. There's no stripes. The only stripes you're going to get are the scars you're going to get. So make sure if you're fighting, you're in the right. So this scenario again, we're close enough. I'm still not going to have my hands in my pocket because it's only till he starts walking away I know there's no problem. So straight away, he starts his gobbing off and he's coming back. Let him go. Just let him go. You don't need that person in your life anymore. Second scenario. You know, you got the guy who stood still and he's got the words coming out of his mouth and he's still doing the same thing. Well, I won't stand in front of his face. I'm not here to be spoke to like that. I'm aware of this hand that's there, so maybe I have options. You know, take a bit of a step back and allow the distance where I still have time while he says whatever he wants to say. And it's the same old saying, I can see your lips moving, but all I can hear is blah, blah, blah. They're not affecting me today. There's certainly not going to be anything that leaves his mouth that hits my head that makes me do something that's going to affect our lives. Because once we get to it and we start fighting, something will change, okay? Hospital visits change lives. Prison changes lives. Comas do. So again, this is where we say on the DVD, brutal bouncer. I've not been brutal up to now. Been very forgiving. Let everything walk away. I'm only here for when it becomes brutal. You will see later on the things we have to do. So this one, he stood still and the words are just rattling out of his mouth. Blah, 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 blah. Machine gunning. Let him have them. But I would step a little bit further back. And this is where I line the finger up. So I am going to put a technique into this. I'm going to grab that little finger and we're going to see where it takes him. Sometimes for someone to stop talking, to stop being aggressive, they have to have pain attached to it. Pain is a great compliance, okay? I found years ago the best motivators in life is pain and pleasure. So this one, I'm going to give him a little bit of pain. It's about time you saw the technique, and such a simple one. And it starts with an L shape. So let's have a look at that. We've got the scenario where he stood still And again, it was a luxury sometimes because it forced me to do it. Other times I'd think maybe outside I'd have done it differently, but I couldn't leave where I was stood. Remember, I was working in nightclubs, so if a guy's giving me some trouble and he wants to get in, well, I can't walk away from this spot, so I had to stand my ground. So this used to be a scenario that would wind me up. He'd be standing here and he'd be pointing and the words are coming out of his mouth. Even at this point, I wouldn't have my hands in my pocket. But let's think about what he's given me. That little thing. So I'm going to grab hold of it. Now, the scenarios and the techniques to grabbing hold of this. A bit like your gun defence. The gun defences you've probably always seen. Ooh, getting my hands up. So while he's pointing, I'll be having, look mate, come on, just chill out. What I'm doing here is just getting my hands close to him, getting him used to having his hands here. Then we've got the little grab. Give you a tip. Don't try and grab that finger. If I'm doing that, there's a chance it's going. Little L shape. That palm, straight for that. If I miss, finger, still get something from it. But I'm looking at grabbing, and then we think about a lever. This is the same technique we're going to use when we're working with arms or anything else. The levers are important. Get to the top and the bottom. So his fingers here, that's the top, that's the bottom. This little thumb's going to come in, this little hand's going over. So we'll go through these slowly in the DVDs for you. When you get further on and we break the techniques down. In, grab. That finger was pointing at me. Listen, it's pointing straight back at him. Then I'm pushing the tip down. That puts into this position. I held people many times with a finger. That will snap. However, with every technique, think about this. If I loosen it, he'll have the option to fight and get out of it, and he will. But if I get it right to the point where it's and that hand's just touched the floor, it tells me everything I need to know. I can even bring it lower and make him lie on the floor. So let's have a look at this for a bit of a technique. Again, don't let the words affect you, but be very aware of what the scenario is. So he's pointing, he's gobbing off. I'd have a listen, mate, just chill out a little. That. Straight down. If he's got a friend with him at this point, well, that's his problem, not mine. I can't afford to let go of him and deal with someone else. I have to finish this quick. That finger can snap quick. That groin's open. The head's open. It's not rocket science to figure out what you can do when you've got control here. Let's think about getting him back up. I can't just let go of him and he stands up and walks away. However, sometimes the words I'd use to him would be enough to let him know you need to walk away, which we'll go through in a later box set, the later DVDs. We'll go through what to say. It's important, you need to know. So he's pointing again. Look mate, just relax and calm down. Now he's not aggressive, and as in he's going to attack me. He's got that words coming out. He's machine gunning again. So I'm not stressing too much, but my hands are still in place. They're in place to hit, to strike, to cover, whatever, but I want that finger. So can we grab the finger? We do it 3-4 times. Try it fast. And for some reason, I always discovered if I go fast, he'd react to my speed. So there's a little slowness to had. Almost dumb him down. Dumb him down to the point he doesn't see it coming. Mate, hold on, listen a minute. That. Then we'll go through techniques to finish it, bring it up and move into others. But that's a standing still. The threat levels are a little bit higher, but because of all that gobbing off coming out of his mouth, I'm not stressing too much at this point. So we're on this scenario. This is the one that livens me up. This is the one that gets rid of the fluff in my head, gets rid of the calmness of, I'm all right. He's a talker. He's going to be going. He just wants to blow off steam. This guy's different. Everything about him's telling me it's different. The way he's standing, the way these little edges are coming in. But I like that. He's already telling me he's a righty. So guys, this scenario's a little bit different. They might have the finger point. Now if he's got the finger point, I still don't neglect gripping that. I don't care what the threat levels are. If the finger's offered to me, I'll take it. If nothing's offered to me, well, I've got to grab something that I want. On these scenarios, I'm not letting him go first. Why would you let him go first? People would train with me and go, what do you do? And suppose you've got to let the guy take a shot at you. Well, you come and train with me, let me punch you clean in the face and then see what you can do afterwards. You come and punch me clean in the face and see what I do afterwards. I'll probably be lying there. So guys, take the initiative. And this is because this guy here is here. What are you looking at? Come on then. Hey, well, you know that very short little bit. You must even be able to see here on the camera, he's building up. It's not this. It's not that. Let's have it. So we'll have that guy next. You've got to be proactive with this kid. So let's have a look at this bit with Dak. So I've got my partner with me. Now when you're training, very important partners, okay? I need it to look so much like it does outside. However, before we start motoring through this, like I said, this is the first little one for the box set. Just giving you the heads up on where to go. This scenario, he gets my attention, mainly because of the body language he's got. So if he goes into a little stance and he's doing this little thing I've got going on, he's got the little rocking bit. You know, you can see him gearing up for it. Well, from there, the scenarios we've got is this. I can do it, and I do it many times, and it works successfully. And it's words first. Now, I'll have a few words, because he's using words. Remember, we're not fighting yet. We're definitely not fighting yet. He'd have thrown the punch already. We've got a conversation to have. But I don't match his conversation, and I don't follow the road he wants me to follow. So he might say, I'll smash the living shit out of you.
Go on. Smash the shit out of you.
No, mate, I don't want any trouble. Now, if I tell him I don't want any trouble, and he really wants to batter me, and he's that type of person that will, I've probably just heightened his awareness. Well, I've heightened the fact he's probably going to go. I'm going to let him know he's nothing. So this is the first one I can do. I'll let him know he's nothing with words, hopefully anger him a little bit more, because you know when you're angry, you don't think. You don't think straight when you're angry. So he's stood there already in a certain set of anger, and he's got his hands out. So my hands would be here going, that's nice, all that little bouncing you're doing, mate. What's up with you? Been dance classes? Now this bit, very important, keeps the gap. So I'll tell you what this does. I don't worry about that hand. Takes a swing from there, it's an elbow up. This is my hand. At this moment in time, with this scenario, I'm thinking one thing. This palm's going to smash his little face for him. So he's doing all the work. So go, mate, chill out for that. Bang! It's not rocket science, guys. Straight in, take your step, palms. That'll put him on a back foot, which is what we're going to work on later. Or let's just get more basic. He stands and he's here and he's doing this. Go square. What's open? There's a line. And I remember a saying when I'd trained so many years in the jiu-jitsu, the martial arts, the karate, and it was my father that gave me this little tip. And we had a fight and we had a kick-off and I was so proud. I was going, oh, this happened, that happened. He went, why don't you just kick him in the bollocks? I went, hold on. You don't understand what happened. He went, listen, never underestimate a good old-fashioned kick in the bollocks. So the next day at work, I was looking for what we used to use technique as a week. And another guy come along with the same personality, the same persona. When I just didn't let him in. He had the wrong shoes on, or maybe he just smelt a margarine. There was something about him I didn't like. And he wasn't allowed in the club, so he's doing this. And in my head, I was thinking so many different articles, techniques, things to go on. And I just remembered that. Never underestimate a good old-fashioned kick in the bollocks. So this word got attached to it. Listen, mate, I'll tell you what I'll do for you. Bang! He dropped. He dropped so quick to where I thought, it's almost so simple, it's insulting. But don't complicate things, guys. If you're looking for complicated stuff that's going to make you look like a movie star, buy another DVD box set. This will just give you the place where to get in, do the entries and disappear. So I'll give you a few scenarios. He stood like this. I shorten my hands and I have a little closed guard. Notice my hands are turned in, not that way. I'll cover why later. So this is working, and this just covers if he takes this shot, I can get to places to work. It also means I can bridge the gap. Now if he's a strong guy and he's pushing, I don't want to push back, I'll move with him and then step in and give him something. So this arm works like a spring, but come on, his face is there, his jaw's there, my head's there. If he throws that hand, that one's in. Neck's up, and we know necks are great shots. But never underestimate a good old-fashioned kick in the bollocks. It just works. Almost insultingly. So we could go further back. We'll go, listen, mate, just chill out, relax. And he's, you can drop him in so simply. And that was because he had this wide stance. And everything that told me he was going to go. Now we'll have a little short stance. And he's in a fighting stance. Now he's changed here. I'm not going to change my legs for him. This is where I work from. This is my position. So from here, I've got an arm that I'm worried about. I'd have a guess you've all guessed that's the baby. Doesn't mean this one doesn't work, but I mean that and this. So I just like a little bit more of an angle. Now, I'm giving him no eye contact on this occasion. Yeah, I'll smash it, mate. Come on, just relax a little bit. Calm down. What I'm doing is I'm covering this central line. So if he throws a shot at me, he's coming a little bit around this arm. But I'm not going to worry about that hand. All I'm going to do is when I feel that little flinch go, I'm coming in. And if you notice the angle I'm at, all I've clocked is that front foot, getting past it. But I can get past it, bang, or I can go straight through the middle. Getting on the outside of someone is a lot easier to work. So you can practice this here. I've got the little stance, and he takes a little swing, and I just beat him to the head, not the shoulder. That's my cover, that's my block. He's got a temple if he's lucky to get it in the top of my head to skim off. Who can beat who to the punch? Kicks. The angle on it, watch, it just doesn't match with that leg. It would have to be this leg, but I don't stand like this, so the kick's gone. In other words, I've got a certain amount of tools in my bag that come out on the right occasions. This isn't a kick off my lead leg, but if he changes legs, he's opened the kick bag. When I mean the kick bag, I've opened my bag, and now the bollock shot's open. It's just lined up. The elbow's open, the hands are open. Change your stance. This is gone. So why worry about it? Instantly, get rid of it. We're on a different set. So we're going to cover over this angles. I'd like to give you one thing that covers everything. But guys, every little move, every little motion means something. Which is where I get slightly insulted on this. People say for self-defense, it's a quite quick course. Well, it is. There's only a small amount of techniques, but you still need to train it for 4 or 5 years. People will say, I'm going to go in the competition world and I'll spend 5 years getting myself to picture perfect fitness. Well, that's nice. You've won your trophy, you've won your medals, but you won't spend more than 3 months on your own self-preservation outside that's life-threatening. So yeah, we have a smaller bag of tools, we have a more direct bag of tools, but don't think I train this any less than you guys do in your professional fights. If you're serious about what you do, ask any pro fighter. They're training, they're in the gym, they're thinking about it. Every single step of every single day for them guys is about that fight, from the water they drink to the food they cut out of the diet. You know, it's in their heads. Now this is where my luxury training come. I realised years ago when I was on the doors and I hit that scene, well, the stuff I was practicing that night had to work. It had to work. So I trained differently. We had 50 people in the room, that's nice. 49 of them are going home having a cup of tea with their wives or boyfriends, doesn't bother me. I wasn't. I was getting dressed, putting my blacks on, and I was go working. So it had to work. My mindset was different. So guys, this DVD will be great for you. But you know, you want to get it, put it in your shelf and think it's going to work. Stop living a lie. Train it. You know, you don't have to train everything. We're not giving you loads of stuff, but find a partner, keep tapping in and use the stuff we're using. So you've got this awareness, we're saying. Awareness works everywhere. I technically have paranoia. Not big paranoia, a healthy paranoia. There's a difference. I have a very healthy paranoia. If you notice throughout this DVD, I talk like this, there's a reason. In the scenarios I was in, you know, I might be comfortable like this, someone comes to talk to me and then I do this. Well, it already tells him something. It tells him I'm nervous of the guy. And if you have someone next to you who makes you feel nervous, and they know they do, he kind of owns you. He does kind of own you. Because you'll react to how he reacts. He'll stand here and you'll do this. He's controlling every step. Listen, I'm showing him nothing. The day you see what I've got, just before you see what I've got, you'll see a smile. You'll see the same, oh, come on, my friend, and then I'll go. And what I mean by that is, my awareness levels are on healthy paranoia. I'm going to make sure he's got no awareness. No awareness whatsoever that's coming. Because like I said, everything in life's a double-edged sword. So my awareness works like this, from getting in the car, to walking down the street, to walking past people I don't know, to a look, to a... So I go on a first scenario, and this can't work for everyone, and I'm never going to have everyone agreeing 100% with me. And do you know what? I don't want everyone agreeing 100%. But I remember one of my good friends, he was out drinking and he lost his eye from a bottle that got smashed. And this is how it started and how it could have ended. He was in a kind of environment where he was walking past these bad boys who were sat at a bus stop, and with his girlfriend he just said kindly, because he's a kind person, "Hey mate, can I have a chip?" And they went, "Fuck off, you dickhead." So he went. You know, when he walked off, that told all them kids on the bus stop exactly what they wanted to know. Yeah, got one, bully. Got a fucking victim. Got one. So while he's walking down thinking he's walked away from it, his awareness levels were off. Because it's just go, let's go. And I understand that. You know, when I was younger, I was there in them same places. You want to forget it, you want to ignore it. It doesn't disappear, guys. Trust me, it don't disappear. You keep it in your head. So what happened is he walked down and these kids took a little corner and they hit the back alley, and then poof, Next thing's the bottle in his face. It's the first thing. Well, in fact, I think I remember him saying, I woke up in hospital and all the last thing I remember was them doing the cancer on my head. He was a mess. We found him, by the way. They got the legal way. They all went to prison. But, you know, if I was there, like I said to him, and people go, it won't always work. That'll force the fight. Force what fight? The fight you already had. You've already had a fight. You got smashed in the fucking face and lost your eye. At least if I was stood in front of you and I knew the fight was there, I had a fighting chance. It's called a fight, so we have a fighting chance. Now, with people, you can plead with some. You can, you know, beg them. Others, you just got to fucking hit them. And it's an unfortunate thing about it, but you do. Some people only learn from pain. If they're pain people and they give it you, well, that's how they learn. So, I mean, it's what you've got to give. So what I would have done on that scenario, yeah, mate, can I have a chip? You'd have had the same smile Greg could have had. Fuck off, you dickhead. Who are you calling a fucking dickhead, you mong? And he would have gone, you know, I reckon at that point would have been the turning point where they'd have stood up and I'd have had the fight. But listen, I'd have had the fight and I'd have had a fighting chance. Or they'd have gone, yeah, mate, I'm only messing. I go, no, you're messing. Give us a chip, mate. You know, because some people just have this personality that doesn't match yours. You've got to be like a chameleon. I meet a nice person. I'm a nice person. I meet a right hard bastard, and he's talking like that. Well, listen, that's nice. He'll feel he can talk to me, and there's no nerves. He won't get the reaction that he wants. In other words, I don't change. I'm a very nice person. I'll always talk nicely till it goes. And then I show you nothing and I give you everything. So let's go back to awareness, okay? That little thing goes to, he should have said something. Or at a bare minimum, he should have had it in his head. You know, these kind of people are coming. And maybe ran. Maybe picked a brick up. Well, you can't pick bricks up. He lost his eye. I'd pick a brick up. I'd pick up a lot more. So, on this awareness levels, standing like this isn't bad. If I walk past you in the street, and I don't know, and you've got that little look about you, well, me walking past with my hands in my pockets, never coming. Because if he takes a shot, I'm on a back foot. And I mean, so simple, why would you not do things like this? If I was walking down and there's people walking past us, touch my eye, well, technically that's me putting my guard up, isn't it? But I hide it, so they don't see that. They just see a person walking past touching the eye, but trust me, in my head, I'm thinking if it goes, they'll get a surprise. They'll get a big surprise. So, you know, healthy paranoia, the way you get out of your car, walking down the street, it's not rocket science, you know. If I walk down the street, I don't care if you think I'm mad or not. But in my environment, we had comebacks, people that say, I'll come and find you. Listen, you trust some of these people that are of worthy character where you go, he's coming back. So little things I do is, if I'm walking down the path, I don't walk right near to gates. If someone was hiding in that garden and they grabbed me, what's my reaction time? 0. So, you know, here's the wall. Why would I walk here? Gives me a bit more reaction time. I wouldn't be on the curb, because if he comes, I'd think, well, that's me in the road. And I work on Sod's Law. Push me in the road, there's a car coming at that exact time. That's me in hospital again. And everyone hates hospital food. It's shit. So I try to take this position. And it just gives me that. Mine is, they go, oh, why'd you do it? I'd go, why would you not do it? You know, why would you not do that? Well, I stay here. You only have to get it wrong once. This just gives you that little reaction time. So that's walking. It's awareness. I don't walk down and look at my phone. It tells people I've got a phone that a certain set of society want. You ain't getting my phone. You ain't getting my phone because you don't know I've got one. It's in my pocket. Now, also people come up and they'll go, excuse me, have you got the time? You'll never see me doing that. Because I know there's a certain set of society in the people I'm mixed with. That's their distraction technique. You got the time, mate? And you're getting hit. So, you know, I go, sorry, I've not. But I'm not tight. I want to give the guy the time of day. I just have a healthy paranoia. So I'll say, I'm sorry, my friend, I've not. And I walk on. Then as I go past, I'll have a look. I'll go, oh, sorry, mate, I have. It's 20 past whatever. So, I mean, you can always give him. You just have a time scale. It has to be done now. Excuse me, mate, have you got a cig? I don't smoke. Why would you sit there and... It gives you that opportunity. So some people go, that's just tight. I don't give a shit. It's saved me on many occasions. But knowing this, these are also the techniques I've used on the bad boys, or on the people that, you know, want to put themselves on you. Listen, mate, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. This is what I can do. Bang! So guys, awareness, distraction, it's not rocket science, healthy paranoias, where I'm parking. But listen, knowing this is how we feel. You walk past me on the street and I've got my hood up and I walk past like that, you're going to feel something. So like I say to my little boy, you know when you're walking down the street, my friend, and you see someone walking towards you who's old, take your hood off your head. You shouldn't wear it when it's not raining anyway. You know, there's no need for a hood in summer. But I go, take it off your head. It makes the person walking past feel better. When you have an old lady walking down, step off the curb, my friend, and let them walk clearly and smile and say good morning. Why would you not? It just simplifies everything for you. Which goes on to the other thing that I sussed out. When I was working on the doors, I'd work with some people that had little screw faces, you know, the frowns. And it was not a coincidence that every person walking past them had the frown as well. The mirrors were mirrors for each other. So he'd stand there and go, you all right? And the guy would walk past me, I'm all right. Go, yeah, I don't like him, why not? He looks exactly like you. Yeah, but do you see how he looked at me? Yeah, he looked exactly the way you looked at him. So what I'd do is I'd go, good evening, how are you doing? Now he'll go, I'm okay, thanks. I go, I like him. I like him because I like myself. Or he'll go, yeah, well now I can stop him. I can stop that guy because I've given him nothing but pleasure. Good evening, how are you doing? Having a good night? Shut up, you didn't know. Come here, my friend. What's up with you? Well, you just failed the attitude test, haven't you? So you ain't coming in. Yeah, listen, you dickhead. Call me a dickhead again and we'll see where this one goes. What's up with you? So again, there's no one set rule, and it does take quite a long time to be able to have these conversations and know the psychology behind it. But it's not rocket science, I don't think. Rocket science when you think about it, but when you actually do it, it's plain to see. So you want to test this little theory, do this. Walk past the next person in the street you see, look at him in the eyes and then look at his feet and do that. And I guarantee you they'll look at you and look at your feet. They'll do it. Walk past them and go, good evening. They might feel awkward, but they'll go, huh, and they'll smile or they'll say good evening. That's psychology for you. It's not rocket science. Don't forget your mirrors, okay? So on the awareness level, healthy paranoia, why would you not? The way I talk, my hands are here. When you're my best friend and I've known you for ages, you'll see my hands here, you'll see my hands here. I don't know you, you'll see them here, but you still see the smile. Till the smile goes, then it's other things start coming. So guys, be aware. Why would you not? So we're on now, secret ingredient. I got wound up to the point of wanting to just tell everybody where to go when we talk about adrenaline and fear. Everyone says the same. I think most people say the same because they've looked at it, dipped the toe in it, they've read about it, and then they put their own opinions to it. And this is where the truth lies, you know. The truth's the truth, you can't change it. It's like everything, you know, a religion will see a truth and they'll just drag it to their side a bit. They'll drag that, it's just there, that's the truth. So this is the truth of what I knew. Regardless of what any techniques I had, there's a feeling that it hit you. I don't give a shit what you call it, adrenaline, you know, you can get a scientist to give a name. It's just a feeling. There's a feeling that it hit me. And I think, what's that? And, you know, if I go talk to someone, they go, oh, that's called adrenaline, mate. It gets injected into you, and you've got to make it your friend. I go, I don't fucking like it. I'm not making this shit my friend. I think, well, no, my friend. This is mine. This is mine. This is for me. Now, I know you see a 3D body working, but there's stuff going on inside our body run by chemicals. I don't need to go and do PhDs for this. It's not rocket science. We feel it every day. There's a feeling to the point you can walk past someone and you just feel something's not right. Well, I live on these feelings, okay? That's what I train. I train the feeling. The techniques is just a bar. That's a bar. How come I could make this face bar work and the next guy couldn't? Well, you know, maybe I just felt it differently. Maybe the feeling attached itself. So I marry certain techniques to certain feelings. So let's go on adrenaline. Get rid of the, it's my friend. Make it my friend. That kind of implies, you know, I've got to make this finger my friend. That finger's not my friend. That's my finger. It moves when I want it to. I control it. Now, the same with adrenaline. The only problem you've got is you don't feel this adrenaline much. We're not getting chased by saber-toothed tigers anymore, daily. But I don't think the cavemans of old would have sat there and talked to the newbies, who have probably dipped their toes in and read about it, would have the same kind of, oh yeah, you're right, it's your friend. They'd go, no. Now, what I've found is this. Yes, it's there. I don't care what you want to call it, and I don't. It's a feeling. But this feeling must have been given to me for a reason. Yeah, it makes you run. Makes you faster, makes you stronger, and you know, it anesthetises you to pain. It can make you do feats that are unbelievable. You've heard stories of grandmas lifting cars off babies that have been crashed, you know, just strength-wise. So it's my superpower. I'm not going to make this my friend, I'm going to own it. Now, what I mean by that is, I lived in it and I bathed in it and I saw it on a daily basis. So I had a luxury of knowing what I'm talking about. I spent 15 years stood in the pool of shit of feelings and emotions, and each one of them, I know the punch, but the feeling makes me want to go back. Well, that punch is rendered useless now. So I had to control my emotions, not make them my friend. Making them my friend still makes it sound like it's alien and it's something separate. It's not separate, it's mine. I'm going to own everything about it. I know how to induce the adrenaline into myself with a breath. I can do it from there and get my goosebumps coming up. I can put 2 shots of adrenaline into me, which might be the equivalent of you having someone with a bat in front of you. I don't need the guy with a bat. I can already hit that stuff into my body. I can get it to the point where I control it. But I understand why you guys say make it your friend. If you woke up one morning and your little finger's doing that on its own, you'd shit yourself. But it does it every day. Well, I need to have a connection with this finger so I can't get rid of it. Listen, don't move on its own, it's mine. I take adrenaline the same way. For me to think, well, depending who stood in front of me, depends on what levels of adrenaline I'm going to get boosted with. Well, I don't want anyone to have that control over me. They're not having that control. So I spent hours accepting it. First thing you've got to do, it's not your friend, it's just you. But here's some tips that got my head around it. It's like spinach to Popeye. It makes you faster, stronger in these sides of pain. I need this shit in my life. I need it. Now, it makes you run. Of course it does. So it's like I said, it'll hit you in so many different ways and make you want to do things, but you can turn it around. It can change you from everything wanting to run to, come on then, let's have it. So I knew the way I stood at certain things. If I stand like this, try it. It makes me feel like I'm pushing myself away from a problem. Plus, it's bloody dangerous to stand like this. You stand like this in front of me, I'm snapping your fingers. You know, they're just there to be grabbed. Plus, we've got arteries that can be had if people have got things in pockets. So I'd stand there and think, how do I feel? Well, already I'm moving back. Like I said, I was in the nightclubs. I don't have the option of moving back. I didn't have the option of running away. I just didn't have it. If I was in the street walking around, just me. Walking away is always my first option. So I had to bath in this stuff. So what I discovered is pretty easy. How I stood, how I moved, changed the way I felt. Also, double-edged sword, changed the way they felt. They saw something different. I'll stab you. What will you do if I stab you? Well, why is everyone with a knife asking a retarded question, right? I'd bleed, wouldn't I? You stab me, I'd bleed. Are you willing to stab me? Now, what's happened with that one? He's already not got the, oh, mate, leave me alone, which, I'm not playing his game. This is the truth of it. If you decide that knife comes out with you that day, that changes both our lives. So, I'd have the calmness in my head to be able to explain to this guy, do you understand what's going on? Technically inject this adrenaline straight back into him. Yes, I'm feeling it, but it's not affecting me like it's affecting you. It's using you, I'm using it. It's mine. It's not a friend, it's mine. To the point I can call on it when I need it with a breath. It takes a while to do that, and I will explain in the DVD how I managed to do it. But unfortunately, you just have to be there. You just got to be there. It's like one of them really shit jokes. You just got to be there. So I was there for a long time. So then I had to go, how do I give this to my students? Sparring, bullshit. Sparring with your mates, doesn't matter, you don't get the feeling. Sparring in a ring, you get a bit of a feeling. Doing a comp, you get a bit of a feeling. Do you know what? I managed to marry these feelings in my supermarkets. Just standing a little bit close to someone. I feel very awkward. They feel very awkward. Who moves first? None of us are moving. A little bit more of a step. I feel so awkward. Well, that awkwardness was kind of like the same awkwardness I felt here. Not the awkwardness for sparring. I was already geared on, ready and free. An hour into before I went training, ready for that occasion. It's these little bits that bite you when you're not expecting it. So, on the adrenaline side, you can stop saying make it your friend and just own it. Own the living shit out of it. It's yours. It's your superpowers. It makes grannies lift cars up. So, what could it make you do? So when I'd get someone stood in front of me then, I'd think, do you know what, my friend? I know what you're feeling, and I know where your head is. You don't know where my head is. So when we meet each other and these forces meet, you're on the back foot already. You're fighting the adrenaline. I'm using it. So guys, stop it. Stop the it's my friend business. Control it. Use it. Make it yours. It's your gift. It's got to be. It's your survival. So how do you do it? or it's awkward. You know, it has to be awkward. You've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in every single scenario and every step and every breath. And I don't mean just to fight one, because even getting used to that's bullshit. Because next time when someone has slightly different, and maybe your son's with you, the feelings change again. So I can't get used to one specific feeling. They change so many times with a step, a move. You know, give me you in a fight in a brightly lit front room, dojo, I feel a certain way. Put me in a dark alley with you, no lights, baying crowd on the top, throwing cat, you feel different. So how do you do that? Well, you can't be in all these scenarios, just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I don't want to go and make millions of people walk around shops standing too close to people, but it's what I kind of did. I just stand there and feel, it doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. I'm not hurting them. In fact, I'll probably smile and pay for the shopping if they're only getting a pint of milk. But you know, I just had to get used to the uncomfortableness of everything. So on adrenaline, get rid of that friend bit. Yes, you use it. Go read your books on scientists and see what but I'd just drop all that. And how's it feel? How'd you feel? So when I get people training with me, I'll go, what's your favourite technique, my friend? Front kick. Oh, your front kicks are shit. Front kicks are shit, they don't work for me. How'd you feel? And you know, his front kick now, I've just convinced him. You're right. You can't convince me. My front kicks work. I just bridge a gap a little bit differently. So, you know, you can affect everyone's plans with a feeling. Most of the things you've ever done in life is a feeling. It's got to be. It feels good, so I'll do it. It don't feel good, so I won't do it. Train the feelings, guys. How'd you do it? We'll give you tips throughout this box set. Okay? So I think that's a special ingredient. I can make that one punch work as long as it feels right. And I don't care what name you attach to it. But you know that feeling I have years ago? It was exactly what I got told it was. Fear. So I felt fearful. And everything matched my head. In other words, when I first started on the doors, lots of people got hurt. Too many, probably, because I was scared. I was fearful. So in my early days, this is what I saw when a guy would be standing in front of me. A massive threat. I feel scared. All this shit's just happened to me. I feel this. I've got to kill him. I'm going to die. And, you know, I went medieval on him. Then after a while, when I got used to it, I'd go, hold on a minute. This isn't what everyone painted it to be. It is what it is. So it went from seeing a very, you know, big threat, a killer in front of me, to someone who didn't even know they'd been lined up. Someone that didn't even realise that they're about to get dropped. There was a calmness that come with that. Then before I finished working on the doors, which is nice to go full circle, I just saw a victim. I wasn't the victim. They were always the victim. You know, so then it'd be like, why has he had such a bad day to make him be in this position here with me? So, you know, in the early days, listen mate, I'll smash your teeth in. Bang, he'd get dropped, he'd get levered and he'd get stamped on. That's the truth of it. But these were reputations used to come and you'd get working in certain clubs. After a while, I saw no threat, I just saw a victim. And unfortunately, this is where I played my trade. The baiting out, the dropping, the getting in first. After that, I saw the guy that just needed help. So it'd be, I'm going to smash your teeth in. Listen, mate, come over here and have a cig with me. And if you still want to smash my teeth in by the time we finish the cig, you're on for that. Go, what's up with you? And the conversations had come. Do you know why? I controlled it to the point it didn't affect me, didn't affect my ego, didn't make me do stuff. It just worked. So guys, there's a feeling to be had. And you know there is. You can feel it. So train it. And I'll give you tips throughout this box set on how to train it, okay? There's your secret ingredient. So let's go on what I explained a second ago about how I could recreate it in every single walk of life. First of all, just walking past people. I mean, I come from the kind of family where we're smilers, we talk to everybody. You know, I go to my local shop, I'm talking to him. We know each other. Walk past someone in the street, I say hello. But for someone who doesn't do that, that's an uncomfortable thing for you to do. So, you know, walk past the next person and just say, good evening. Now walk past them and say good morning when it's evening. There's a second conversation, it's morning. But you know, it induces something that's not really meant to be the norm. So this is what I mean about how I used to do it in shops. And I never ever wanted anyone to feel intimidated. Maybe a little bit, who's that weirdo? I'm all right with them living with them feelings. So, you know, anything used to apply. So if he was stood in the shop and he was stood there, you know, this is a safe place for us to go, feel comfortable. I didn't want to get used to being comfortable. So I'd first do that and then go, just so he noticed me, and go, oh, sorry, my fault. So what I've done is I've made him feel, I was going to push in, So he thinks, oh, you could, I'll do whatever. They go, oh, sorry, mate, my fault, my fault. So he thinks, nice guy, I've stood here now, and he's thought, weirdo. That's it. Just this morning. He moved. His uncomfortableness made him move. Now that's awareness. I'm not moving. I love it. I had to get used to this feeling, and I wanted to see how other people reacted. It looks very odd, and it feels very odd, and this is what I needed. If I didn't get the reaction out of him, to tell you the truth, if I got someone that had pushed in, I will not hurt someone for pushing in front of me. I'll make you feel uncomfortable, as uncomfortable as I feel. So let's say I'm stood there. I hated this. And they'd come in front and they'd stand there at the front and you go, now listen, I'm not fighting at that point. It's not a fighting occasion. And he feels, and I feel a little bit hurt. You know, so I want to do something. So I'm not going to smash him, I'm not going to grab his eyes, I'm not going to elbow him. Just smell him. That's nice, Timothy. It's hard work, isn't it? But you know, these would be where I'd go. I'd have a feeling, they'd go, what are you talking about? I go, sorry, my friend, I thought you just walked in front of me so I could smell your lovely hair. Do you know what I'll do for you? I'll stand back here, mate. You can have your own. So, sorry, it was my fault, that. Now we've got this distance. He still feels awkward, and I'm smiling and laughing. And you know, I'm just watching every step and every move. And I guarantee you, by the time he gets to the door, his head's either down, and he don't want anything to do because it's like, weirdo, or it's a stare as a challenge. I'll blow him a kiss. Not bothered. But you know, this is how I'd get used to going. It's uncomfortable. It's not just about fighting. There's an uncomfortableness to it. I've known this young man since he was 8 years old. He's training with me all the time. And we're comfortable here. It's a bit uncomfortable, this. It's a little bit more uncomfortable. So you know, the feelings. Train the feelings. Don't take liberties with people. Don't make people feel nervous. Put yourself out your comfort zone. Say different things. Do different things. Someone's at the front buying a bottle of milk, and this is where it transfers into all my life. I've seen people buy it and they've been short of change, and every man in the line's got change in his pocket and wants to give it to him. They all want to give it. Oh, I want to give him. But there's always one that goes, yeah, there you go, love, pay with that. There's only one, isn't there? But you don't be that person. Because he's got used to the feelings. They don't affect him anymore, okay? Train the feelings, guys. So you've got through the first disc on the box set, and you've seen nothing. The techniques are coming, okay? They will be coming. But they were useless. Like I said, I worked in the nightclubs, and I took my karate and my jiu-jitsu with me. The jiu-jitsu fit this world so well. The karate, it was just alien. It was alien to that world. So the reason you're not getting techniques on this one is, I already had the techniques, but they were useless till I understood the feelings, the posturing, the emotions, how to throw the adrenaline and inject it. Not just they want to put this fear onto me, how to bottle it, how to use it, and then throw it back to them tenfold. You know, put them on a back foot. So hopefully this first bit you've just seen will give you a little bit of an heads up where you'll go, oh, makes sense that. Now if it doesn't make sense, I don't care. I don't need you to agree with me. You know, I stood there for many years and I know what I'm saying is just the truth. I can't pretty it up. There's a feeling to be had. Train them in every single step you do. You know, this is where I change them and I don't let egos get involved. Someone cuts me up in the car, your instant ring is fucking dickhead. It's not with me anymore. It's all right, mate, my fault. I've not indicated when I've gone round bends and so's he. So, you know, I had to look at myself a little bit more. And what I discovered is my ego was the thing that caused a lot of the things. My insecurities caused a lot of the fights. Me not understanding this thing about making fear your friend put me in a position where I was already fighting. You know, I let everything go. I'm a smiler and I understand things a little bit better. But it was just because I became comfortable with being uncomfortable. So hopefully that first little box set, put the techniques to one side, we'll hit them in a little bit. We'll do the snarling and the growling and we'll put some intensity into it. But they're the keys. They're the keys. So guys, hope you enjoyed the first one. Let's get stuck into the second one.